Welcome back. Here's the development, and I will probably add the recapitulation of the Mozart Violin Concerto number 4 in D major, Casual 218. So this is the measure. If you measured your numbers, numbered your measures. I always say that backwards. If you numbered your measures, then we're in measure 115. That includes all the orchestral exposition and everything. So measure 115 is when we go on to development section. So we have some slurs and some spiccato. So we have to keep it light. Mozart is very graceful, so try not to be heavy. It's only piano, mezzo piano. Always vibrate, very, very nice, light vibrato, not too wide or too narrow. So the diminished chord. Be careful there. And then G, natural. Sorry, one more time. G nat. So that's what happens in development section is the composer always goes to these unique places, more surprising. So G nat. So I have two downs. So again, just like in the exposition, I am slurring, just like I did in measure 60, I am slurring the 4/16 notes rather than doing two slurred and two separate. So just an idea. I really like that idea. So let's measure 118. Then it's espressivo. So I don't play it too short. There are dots, but dots are one of the most ambiguous markings. So depending what you're playing, if it says espressivo, you probably don't want to play them very short. Some people may play it, but I think it's a little bit longer. So I go to first finger on that measure 120. Then third position. I do two bows, and then I go up. So there's a lot of information here, but I hope some of it is helpful to you. So very chromatic. Chromatic scales are tricky because you have to really listen carefully, and the fingerings are also very important. So in here, we're crossing to A string. I would play these just a little bit by themselves. Then go to the next one. Then shift, go to the next one. Then we have another one. So treat each one of those half steps separately until you can really hear really well. Going on, we have forte section, similar to the one we had in measure 74, except this one kind of goes up instead of down. So the pattern is the same, similar bowing. So two slurred, two separate. And I always talk to students about harmony. Make sure that you understand what kind of a chord you're playing. So in this case, we have D, F sharp, B, D. So if you know some theory, this is an inversion, first inversion. So if we put instead of going, put the B on the bottom, because the chord in its original form, in the root form, needs to have thirds, 2/3 in a row. So B, D, F sharp. So that's how you can recognize what the chord it is. So we're in minor now, right? We're in development section, so anything goes. That A sharp is important. So forte, piano. So we have this whole section for 8 measures with the same idea. Forte, piano, forte, piano. If you want, it just seems kind of natural to do that. And we're going through different chords. So measure 126 is that B minor, then measure 128, if you can figure out what chord that is E minor, E minor, and then measure 130. If we put A on the bottom, that's A major, and then the measure 132, you maybe already know, it's D major. Okay, so understand those chords and play them. You can play some double stops. Important to play them as double stops to tune them up as well. The part in 127, 29, and 30, let's see, 127, 129, 131, and 133 is the same idea. We're crossing strings. So we have string crossings in a fast succession. I would practice it with the wrist. Make a little circle. And then for tuning, you can also play them in double stop. Okay, so it's tricky to tune, but then the separate thing is the right hand. So right hand needs to be nice and relaxed wrist. Hold on to the bow, nice and firm, but be able to move the wrist. So you're not doing this kind of thing. Okay, and measure 134 going on. We have another group of, this time, longer arpeggio. So with so many string crossings in a row, in addition to having to know what arpeggio you're playing, again, so G major, then if you find the 2/3 in a row, that's D major, right? Measure 135. So you can go through that maybe with your teacher or on your own, with the piano even. You can use the piano to find the harmonies. So that's one thing about the next few measures. So between 134 and 141, we have all these arpeggios and whole progression of different keys. And so that's very important to tune it up and know what chords you're playing. So using a piano would be very helpful. And the second thing is all the string crossings. So you're crossing usually almost each time every 2 notes, but it's not a rule. It's just happens a lot. So make sure you're playing on one string. Figure out what's on each string. So measure 134. You have 2 notes, and then you have another 2 notes, another. So happens to be 2 and 2 and 2. And then next measure, if you shift to 3rd position, you have 3 notes on A string, and then 2. Then in measure 136, 1 note, then 2, 2, and then 3, including the downbeat. So make sure you know where you're crossing the string, and that you are treating each crossing a little bit more squarely, so you know where the arm is on which string, because those are different levels, right? Okay, going on to measure 141, because this is a long movement, so we've got to get through a little bit more. I think I may have to divide this video, and you can see the recapitulation in the next video. So here is the end of the development section, measure 142, and here the trills are written from above, and they're long trills. So often students have a little trouble with that because they go by, they're long, but they're also quick because they have that 16th note after. So, and then a very fast shift. So take your time and work on it. And then you can actually practice them all by themselves. So just do that one until you're comfortable. Then go to the 1st position, do the next one. Do the next one. And the next one. Because because sometimes students want to connect them too early before they are ready. Next measure is 143. 3, 4. This is an, let's see. 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm not quite sure what I did here. 2, 3, 4, 1. I think there's some bowing discrepancy here that I need to figure out, but you can do 2 ups, measure 144, or lift. You could even 2, 3, 4, 1, and that's already a recapitulation. So it's it's not exactly the same as the exposition in measure 42. He actually enters the recapitulation by going back to measure 55, 6, 7, 57. So it's that theme on the G string. So here you go. This is the development of the Mozart Concerto No. 4, and we're going to talk to you on the next video about the recapitulation.